Good morning, Belen. I'm Ricardo Blanco, and welcome to the news. With the beginning of Black History Month, it is important to recognize and be educated on the culture and history of African Americans in America. On a smaller scale, right here on Belen, we have our own club that recognizes all kinds of cultures during this month, and is putting an emphasis on BLM. This club is known as DAP.
With the beginning of Black History Month, it is important to recognize and be educated on the culture and history of African Americans here in the United States. On a smaller scale, right here in Belen, we have our own club that recognizes all kinds of cultures during this month and is putting an emphasis on Black Lives Matter. This club is known as DAP.
So the diversity panel is important to me because it's a safe haven for just anyone in the school, and it's also a learning experience so that when we go to college, we'll be able to adapt more to the situation and different people from different backgrounds.
So DAP stands for Diversity Advisory Panel, and it's a group of students. We started it about 2 years ago. There's a group of Black and African American students at Belen that when we got together to speak to them a little bit about planning different activities in the school, we realized that there was a big need for education, for awareness, for other students that were not familiar with their cultures or their ethnicities to be exposed to more information and to more about the experience that it was like for a Black student at Belen. So that's where DAP started, and it's taken off, and we've been able to do great activities in the school. We've had speakers and presentations. We've had some of our students from DAP speak to the classes and let the other students hear a little bit more about their life and their story and their experience as Belen students and how they contribute positively to the school.
Led by President Isaiah Fuller, Vice President Ian Johnson, and with the help of Ms. Gutierrez and Mr. Chambers, this club is looking to make an impact for the future of the school.
Some of the things planned we have for this month is every Friday, the lunch staff decided that they're going to serve a specific cultural meal from different cultures, African, Afro-Caribbean cultures. We're also going to have some roundtables to discuss controversial topics, and we're going to have some speakers speak to the middle and high school about their experience.
DAP is looking to make an impact in our own Belen community this month and is educating our students on Black History Month. For WBLN, I am Santi Ariza.
Everyone has different financial situations, and when it comes to college, families have big decisions to make. Robbie has more in the story.
Entering 2021, many parents and students may have questions about financially planning for college. We spoke with Raymond James financial advisor and member of Belen Jesuit class of 2010, Jordy Bousset, about ways parents and students can prepare and be fiscally responsible in college.
Typically, I'm typically talking to Florida residents. If that's the case, I encourage everybody in that position to look towards Florida Prepaid as an option. It's a program that's guaranteed by the state of Florida, by which at the culmination of that program, the idea is that program will have amassed enough in it to cover the cost of an in-state public institution. Now, if that's not an option, or if you need to fill a gap and you potentially go to a private institution, you're still eligible to keep that money from the Florida Prepaid, but typically the private institution is going to be a little bit more expensive. So you may see that there may be a gap that you need to fill. If that's the case, then you can always look to the largest lender of student loans, which is the Department of Education. They have a website that you can look to for resources as well, give good explanations in there. There you can apply for grants, which are money that you won't have to pay back in the future. You can also apply for loans there as well, for federal loans. Typically two types of those. There's subsidized and unsubsidized. Unsubsidized typically means that should you take out an unsubsidized loan, you basically will incur interest on that loan in your time in college. Subsidized means the Department of Education will actually cover the interest of that loan while you're actually in school. If that's not an option, you can also look towards private lenders, though there are some different restrictions and rules in comparison to the federal loans that you might want to be aware of. And last but not least, I would say that all universities typically have a financial aid office that you can look to as a resource. They can explain to you what your options might be, maybe look towards different options as it relates to scholarships as well. So I would definitely use them and utilize them as a resource. I'd say, explore all your options, do your due diligence, know your pros and cons. There's a lot of information out there that you can kind of, wean through and see what's going to be the best fit for you. I'd also say don't over borrow. be realistic about, the fact that you're going to have to pay back this loan one day in the future if that's an option that you should decide to go through. And just picture it this way: one day you're going to have to pay that money back. So, your first paycheck coming out of college, you're going to have to pay back your student loans if you do have them. So be cognizant of the fact that, that's something that you're going to have to pay down the line, and maybe even compare what your salary might be at that point to see what it really looks like in dollars terms. And I'd also say take things, seriously. It's a big responsibility. If you do take out a loan, it's your name on that paper saying that you're going to pay that back one day. And sure, for whatever reason you miss out on a payment, or you can't make a payment, it could have some negative consequences down the line that could hurt you. So definitely be aware of those things. I think that would be really important. Some alternative ways, in addition to some of the things I mentioned earlier, are things like 529 accounts, which can help you assist with education costs. Additionally, there's things such as Uniform Transfer to Minors Act accounts, also known as UTMA, or UGMA accounts, which could help parents get a head start in saving for their children's lives for college and even beyond. So those are some options that I'd encourage people to look for and look to as certainly things that could help fill that void.
I'm Robbie Espin, WBLN.
What's up, Wolverines? I'm Robbie Espin, here at Sports for Today. Varsity Soccer is taking on Miami Central today at Belen in a district semifinal game. The game will kick off after school today at 4. Belen Water Polo took on the Columbus Explorers yesterday, winning 32-0. Now on to the pros. Your Miami Heat face off against the Washington Wizards tonight at 8 p.m. The Heat are coming off a rough stretch and need to bounce back strong to make a playoff push. The Panthers lost the Predators in overtime on Thursday night, 5-6. The Ice Cats will seek revenge tonight against Nashville. That's it for sports. Now back to Ricardo at the desk.
Thank you, Robbie. Remember to follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Remember to stay safe and stay golden, Wolverines. We'll see you next week.